All right, so this is state government reporter Will Doran, and you did this story that we were talking about this morning about how former Governor Roy Cooper was talking about how lawmakers, he thinks, how they should not be trading stocks while they are lawmakers, right? Like,
exactly.
Talk to me a little bit about that, because I have heard many people give their opinions on that topic as well.
Yeah, so Cooper told us that he does not think that Congress should be able to trade individual stocks. So, if you've got a mutual fund, an ETF, something like that, that could still be okay. But the idea of being invested in a specific company while you are writing laws that could affect that company or its competitors and therefore affect your own bottom line, he said that just invites corruption and it really hurts trust in government. And actually, I looked this up and there's been some studies on this as well. Just going from the 1950s until today, trust in government has dipped from like 80% to around 20%.
Well, let's dive into that, right? So let's say there's legislation that's out there that would affect pharmaceuticals, right? That's been one contention for a lot of people, is that, some medication is more expensive. But if there's, let's say, a law out there that would affect, hey, how much you're going to pay, whether it's less or more, could you trust your own lawmaker to make the right decision that would be good for the whole if they are actually holding shares of like that pharmaceutical company, like let's say Eli Lilly, for example?
Exactly, that's a huge concern. And members of Congress could also have advanced notification of, okay, did X, Y, or Z pharmaceutical companies pass its latest test from the FDA? Did it fail the FDA's test? They might know that information just because of their contacts up in DC before it becomes public. And so they can potentially make trades on that. Now, you get into the realm of insider trading, and Congress is not exempt from insider trading laws. It's still illegal, but they're pretty weakly enforced.
Well, I think that's one thing too, right? Like if you know a law is going to be up for discussion that could very well affect a particular industry, you might, I don't know, sell your shares or buy more of them if that's the case. I believe Nancy Pelosi had come under fire for making what are described as like well-timed trades, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Oh, there are entire programs out there that track Nancy Pelosi's trades to let people copy what she's doing because she has had so much success in beating the market. And, obviously she's a Democrat. Republicans do this as well. It's a bipartisan thing. Here in North Carolina, our former U.S. Senator Richard Burr was actually investigated back in 2020 by both the FBI and the SEC for insider trading allegations. They believe that he had gotten some classified briefings on COVID in February of 2020, kind of before the pandemic blew up. He sold a bunch of stock, was investigated for that, was eventually cleared, but that just kind of soured a lot of people here in North Carolina. And again, he was cleared of everything, but there was just this impression that not just him, but all these members of Congress who are trading stocks are sometimes trading on insider information.
So forgive my ignorance, because I've seen a lot of arguments for lawmakers not being able to trade or even hold stocks in any type of portfolio while they're serving the people. Are there arguments why they should be allowed to do that? I mean, I'll be honest with you, I could not find anywhere. I was looking, I actually resulted in putting it into ChatGPT going, what are some arguments for this? And one of the things that it kind of spit out saying that, well, they're citizens and like other citizens can trade, so they should be allowed to. And one other argument it made was lawmakers people may be dissuaded from going into like public service, being a public office, if they know they can't actually trade, and they may be well fit for that role because of their knowledge.
Exactly. I think that's a really good point. And, maybe there are some people who run for Congress because they just want to get rich off of stock trading, but I don't think that for most people that is why they're running for office. But if you ban this, you do risk, like you said, limiting the pool of candidates who are willing to run for office. I mean, it's tough running for office, and you want good people. You want the best people in Congress, no matter your political view. You want people who know what they're doing, what they're talking about. And if you're saying, okay, if you've been successful in life and have all of this money tied up in stocks, we don't want you in Congress, then you do risk alienating some of potentially the better candidates that could run. And again, this is not just a Democrat or Republican thing. Both support or opposition. When you see the members of Congress who are trading stocks, it's on both sides of the aisle. And then when you talk about the opposition to this in the general public as well, it's also on both sides of the aisle. I mean, studies show 80–90% of the general public thinks that members of Congress should be banned from trading stocks, but the idea has just gotten no traction in Congress itself.
Well, and that was my next question. I believe you said right now there's kind of an effort that was introduced, and I believe a Republican is the one that introduced it, but in terms of support they're getting, it's mostly from Democrats and not necessarily enough that anything actually would possibly happen, at least right now where it is.
Right, so there's a thing in Congress called a discharge petition, which is basically normally the Speaker of the House gets to decide what comes up for a vote and what doesn't. And Speaker Mike Johnson has not allowed a vote on this proposal to ban stock trading. So Representative Anna Paulina Luna, who's a Republican from Florida, she put out a discharge petition saying, hey, let's force the Speaker's hand, let's force this idea to a vote, let the people be heard. If it fails, but let's at least take a vote on it. And so far, there are 435 members of the U.S. House. She has gotten 61 of them on board. There are 219 Republicans. She's gotten 15 of them on board. So, within her own caucus, she's losing 15 to 204. So this is not something that is very popular with members of Congress of either party, especially not the majority party.
Well, my last question for you. So if it's not popular for the most part in Congress, is this something that could be put up for referendum? Like you mentioned, there's a high percentage of people that believe that lawmakers should not be able to making trades and holding shares while they are serving the people if there is a conflict of interest. So is this something that should be a referendum, and has there been an effort in the past in any state, maybe even including here, to make that a thing?
It could be. I mean, you can try to amend the Constitution with anything, and we're actually pretty close in the U.S. right now to having enough states on board to call for a new constitutional convention. One of the things that supporters of that want to do is to put term limits on members of Congress, which is a related issue, looking at ethics and insiders and all of these kind of things. Then that's a topic for another day. But if that constitutional convention happens to try to put term limits on members of Congress, could we see something like a ban on stock trading get slipped in? It's totally possible.
Totally possible. But I want to know what you think. This is something we've kind of gotten Will's expertise on, but what do you think? Should lawmakers be allowed to make trades or even hold shares while they are serving a public office?